There was a moment not that long ago when our ancestors looked up to the sky to see only birds and stars. Dreamers imagined themselves flying above the land and looking down at the world below. A bird's eye view, an unlikely perspective. In under 70 years since that first powered airship floated above Lake Constance in southern Germany, a pair of human feet would step onto the dusty surface of the moon. The Astro is a new perspective for us as watch designers and is inspired by the race to stand on the moon and the broadened legacy of human perspective as a result. I've been interested in space since I was a wee boy. Astronomy, Apollo and the iconic moon landings have always fascinated me. I think at some point we all have aspirations to be an astronaut before the realities of life get in the way. It takes a certain type of person to become an astronaut, and unfortunately I'm 2 cans short of the required 6-pack. The innocent wonder of the planets and the stars standing on another planet, it's inspiring and frightening and wondrous all at the same time. Researching this project was great fun because it allowed me to get into the details of things that I've skirted around for a long time. It's an almost impossibly large area to research, for so much happened in such a relatively short space of time. But in the areas I looked at, a universal truth permeates through it all. This was a tremendous achievement by so many incredibly skilled, dedicated and brave people. Work began for the Astro in July 2020, once the research phase was underway, and knowing the history of watches tied to the space race, it was clearly going to be a challenge to get past the many iconic watches so closely tied to the moon. It wasn't long before we knew that we had to do something really different, totally unexpected and outside of our comfort zone. In our research, the most interesting observation was that for most people around the world, the achievements and iconic images that were seen of these endeavours were all witnessed through square frames. Television broadcasts live from the moon, photographs taken on the Hasselblad cameras, and books with colourful prints and illustrations, all were presented through a restricted square-sided viewpoint. The first step for the Astro was clear. The case should form the aperture through which our vision of the space race could be viewed, but in a little twist, taking on the shape of a squircle, in a nod to the big wood-clad television sets of the late 60s and early 70s. Our goal for the 4 Astro dials was to form some sort of narrative arc, going from the beginnings of the space race all the way through to the current day, whilst featuring lots of dynamic depth and texture, all morphing and changing with the light and shadows. We wanted the time referencing to be clear, but also have our renowned high quality finishing, so applied indices, multiple polished elements, various layers and colour accents. The Valentina and Eagle models encapsulate the beginnings of the space race, and we wanted to somehow reference the events that would follow on from these great achievements, like the 2 vinyl record-like phonographs made from gold-plated copper and etched with pictures and sounds from Earth, which were launched aboard the Voyager spacecraft in 1977. We've used the record-like radial texture on the Valentina and Eagle on the outer surface of the dials, with numerous layers leading down to the 2-tone main dial surface. There have also been numerous depictions of space in popular culture, artwork, music and film, not least of which is the iconic Stanley Kubrick film 2001: A Space Odyssey. In this film there's a scene where Dr. David Bowman is walking down the octagonal tunnel, white and brightly lit, cutting-edge set design for its era. We took this as inspiration for the hexagonal pattern on the Hadfield and Futura. A number of subtle influences appear on the Astro range, like the reticles printed on the underside of the crystalline silver. The Apollo missions all took Hasselblad cameras with calibrated lenses and plates etched with crosshairs, which allowed the NASA engineers back on Earth to measure things in these photographs We've also included little nods to pioneering missions like Apollo 11 on the Hadfield and Futura with a highlighted 11 o'clock numeral, whilst the caseback features a crystal with underside printing, a spherical motif with the silhouette of a command module orbiting around it, just above where the counterweight from the automatic movement revolves. The Astro is different and it is unique and it's challenging. Square case watches are always going to polarise, but that's all part of the fun, and the experience in bringing the Astro to market has been equally as unique and challenging. The creation of so many bespoke parts, including the natural rubber straps and the custom artwork for the box and presentation, has all been brilliant fun, and each time we launch a watch we're expanding on our knowledge of how we do what we do. And I guess if we're not dividing opinion, then we're not doing it right. And with the Astro, I think we've made a big leap in our own understanding of what we can achieve, but also what's possible if we put our collective minds together.